Hello everyone, how you doing today? Back again to work on this MX5. After the testing of the last video, I realized I made one other mistake and I had to correct that before the video, and that is that I saved the ship as a different name. I called it like MX5 Refit, A Proto, something or other. And I couldn't do that if I wanted to update the existing blueprint. So what I did is I grabbed another MX5 stock and did all the same modifications to it, except I changed the rear thrustering, or the rear thrusters around a little bit. Thrustering, that's a new word, by the way. I make these up as I go along. I managed to get 4 of the bigger thrusters in back, so it has more power than it used to. And right now, with that in place, now granted I have the tier 3 blocks in here, but 15,000 is my cap. I'm good yet. So, and that is with the storage set to 10K and ammo storage set to 1500. On the interior, I kind of put in some blocks again, so it didn't have holes in the edges of the ship. And it's got the same thruster locations and the same thrusters as it did before. So I should be good. I should be able to update this blueprint now and not have to create like a new ship out of it. That is one thing to be mindful of, something I didn't think about when I was doing it yesterday. So everything should be good, and I'm basically at the interior now. I have 3 generators installed, which is what it needs currently. It will need 2 more once it gets upgraded to tier 3. I guess what I'm going to start doing now is start trying to lay out the interior in some fashion that works. Not exactly sure all the nooks and crannies of that I want to do yet, but the big thing is probably what I ought to start with is the warp core. The warp core used to be in this location here, and I kind of probably ought to keep it there. But what I want to do is start texturing up behind where I want to put the warp core right now, and try to come up with a baseline design on what it should look like at this point in time. Yeah, maybe I got the in-game volume a little bit too low now, but just kind of getting in some of this metal texture right now and getting rid of some of the squirrely seams that would be visible. Yeah. Alright, so we got that. Looks like originally it had a stripe of this crossed here, so I will maintain that. Not to mention, it's I like to use rows like this occasionally so I don't have to mess with the lines on the textures. But some of these may not be visible anyway. Alright, so that looks a little bit better in this area. Now the flooring below the warp core, I think I ought to probably change that, do something a little different. So the warp core is 5 blocks long. I just soon push it all the way forward if I can. So let's do something like that. And this is stuff you're really not going to see. I mean, I doubt you'll see at least. Okay. Oh shoot, one last thing I better do again too is, do I already have it? Yeah, there's my color palette. Almost. Except we're going to change the black as well and raise that up a little bit. Something like that. Alright, so now we're on the new color scheme. see, stock floor colors. Probably something like this here. Well, the warp core on the walls. I think this was mostly gray before, but I'll try to make it a little bit prettier than it used to be, if possible. I'm sure it's possible. And I got the game audio probably a little bit too low now. No, I'm not hearing anything I do, but that's all right. Kind of relaxing not hearing all the sounds sometimes. All right. And is that a, well, you know, if I put the warp core there, that's probably not a good spot to add CPU tier upgrade blocks. Also, when I put this back together, currently it has 6 fuel tanks, 3 generators, 4 oxygen tanks. Now, it might need a, you know, if I got some spare CPU, I will try to get more of those things in here again. Alright, so on color here, we're going to do, let's do an interior white. Oh, that doesn't line up with that good. Okay, how about white on the bottom row? Like that. And actually, this will go to a darker shade slightly here. Once I get this established, then it's easy to paint the rest of the interior on the other side. I'm just trying to get decent enough color fluctuation so there's a little bit of change in here, but not overly done. And top row, I'll go with a dark. Yeah, let's try that. Let's see what happens here. Alright, so we got new walls. And let's get the warp core slammed in here. Man, I almost want to keep it back one, but I don't want to waste blocks. Well, can't hurt too bad. Okay, so the interior as well, I'm going to try to go with substrate again. Now on the side walls here, you see like a generator here, and you think, oh, that's exposed. It's not really, though. In fact, I got the generator and fuel tanks separated apart throughout the ship. I removed all the former parts that used to be in the front area, so there's nothing explodable over here anymore. There's a little gap of space in there currently, but I think we're okay with that too. So let's see, warp core housing. What could we try on this? It'd be kind of fun to use some newer blocks, but a big thing with the warp core is I got to keep the player one full block space away, even on the corners over here. Otherwise, you will get radiation and stuff. It kind of sucks because I like to bevel the corner in, but if you do, you can walk just far enough over to get exactly what you've seen over on the side over there, getting that radiation. So I almost got to keep this full over here on the sides to keep the player away from it, or a block that acts like it's full. So even if I put in that, that's not good. But if I rotated it this way and it was filled in on the center part, it would be good. So I'm going to go for one of the newer blocks, I think. Man, how do I want to do this, actually? I can't do that. could go with a different approach entirely. If you had something like that, and then, you know what, this is human. I'm going to try to use some roundy stuff. I've been doing the MCRN for a while now, and they don't, I'm trying not to use much curves with them, simply for a style change from the other race here. God, if I left it like that, would you be able to walk there? Hold on a second, this is just a test. Go to God mode. No, that works, okay. That's one idea, is to set up these fins or something like that to keep the player away. Obviously it's a different design than what it used to be. So far so good. That is working, kind of. Do I go with the same pattern here? Maybe. Oops. So I always try to mix this up with like putting in the housings for the stuff. And there was a comment too on, you know, why do all the stuff with the housings, just let players put in the parts where they want to. Well, it doesn't work with my style, honestly, because I form fit everything around the parts, and if I don't do that, it's just, you'd have to like rip the ship apart to try to put the stuff in, and I don't want to really do that. I'd rather have it kind of like set and ready. Alright, so on the center here, you know, there's not the double versions of the couple of the pieces I just used there, which it's not that big of a deal though. I got an idea here. What if we put in like a guardrail in front of this? Something along these lines. And that keeps the player out of here, unless of course you jump up here, but maybe I'll try to prevent you from doing that too. There is this block, so I can put in the center. Well, this could actually be glass. Let's try that. I'm not going to go with the armored windows on this. One thing I'm a little bit nervous about too is the local weather is saying that we've got a big ice storm coming in. And I especially hate ice storms simply because what happens is I typically will lose power. And last time we had an ice storm, I lost power for 5 days. So not exactly looking forward to that whatsoever. And I hope it doesn't happen, but we'll see. This could be a nice place for maybe adding some other parts here. I hate this wasted space. I try to do something with it. But what? Could try this. And maybe put some kind of little lip over it or something. fluctuating. What if I went with, it kind of sticks out a little too far there. What about something relatively simple? Maybe change it up just a bit in the center. Well, that's one thought. Let's run with that for now. To save myself some time, because a lot of this texture will end up being the flat metal, what I'm going to do is do a replace all of carbon substrate with that for now. Alright, so we've got kind of a warp core in place. Once textured up and stuff, it could look interesting, I guess. And if I don't like it, I can change it easy enough. So we have that. I think that's out of the way of your main, of the bridge here, or bridge, of the cockpit, except for my little bars there. That's unfortunate. Make another change here. I guess just full blocks. Whole purpose of this is so I can put in some theatrics around this area. Before I go too far with these, I want to see if I got it placed right. It's really hard to tell on a lot of this, and I do have it placed right. If I didn't have it placed right, essentially, it would have textured all of it when I hit that one corner, and I don't want that to happen. So that's why I did it this way. And test it first. Save a little bit of time later. I think it looks something like this originally. Alright, so next big thing, core location. Typically when building the ships, if you want them to survive, you don't want the core right up front because that's where most of the damage will probably end up happening. But I usually like to put them off to the sides or something over here. Because it is the core as well, I think I'm going to go for steel blocks at least around the immediate core area. Just hope all the CPU stuff works out here. Let's do something like that. Let me see if I got this one placed right or not. Yes, okay, good. Okay, so we have core location. We have a bit of space up here that could be used for some additional fuel tanks or something if CPU allows for it. Alright, I really like to put in some little bit of trim or something on the insides of this stuff too, but I'm going to try it again. This could be cut if I can't get away with CPU. And there's been some debate too on does CPU affect creativity? And I really do think it does. Because I'm trying so hard to be conservative with literally everything that I'm purposely omitting detail or things I could have made to make the ship look better, due to the restraints of CPU. So I absolutely do believe it affects creativity. In fact, I gotta just go cheaper with literally about everything to make everything comply and be happy. Except for, well, not on everything. HVs and SVs, lower tier especially, which is probably the bulk of the ships that people are using in the game, unfortunately. But CVs as well at lower tier, so it's nothing's really immune to it. What's that block there? Oh, that is a shaped block. Okay. All right. Just for now, I guess, keep it that way. Now we've got a nice little huddle in the corner here, places to put some parts, but I gotta really start thinking about where are the CPU tier blocks going to go. And just gonna need to start with just the one, but then you need to add in two once you update this to tier 3. And also I gotta think about where am I gonna put the shield. Okay, so shield is pretty easy to fit typically, not too big. If I actually extended that out a little bit there and kind of wasted some more space, that'd be pretty easy to fit something like this, or it could like fit right in here too. Okay, say it goes there. I don't like that generator right behind it though. I don't really want to add more blocks in front of it to cover that up either. Yeah, I guess I'll bite the bullet and just do it anyway. Put a little something behind here, I guess. How about some pipe? Okay, so shield can fit there. Let's put some sidewall blocks here to make it look right, and I might as well go with the same style I did with the warp core. Okay, so shield upgrade spot. I'll just dump one in here for a minute. Top blocks for it. Just mix it up in the center here, make it look like there's something going on with the shield. Maybe a couple curvies. Be a little bit different interior. Always gotta try new things. Alright, other main parts. O2 dispenser, fridge, already got that in place. You need Wi-Fi and detector. These are pretty easy to place typically. And Actually, these locations up here might be a great spot for that. Maybe slam them both up here. So they get a little bit of texture action going on behind it. Make it look like they're important. Alright, flooring here. That's one nice thing. There's only a couple textures that I use that match the cargo extensions, and this happens to be one of them. Problem I'm going to have on the flooring though is only on that row there. So what I'm thinking I'm going to try is my newer type of flooring scheme a minute, and that is kind of putting in these. I just want to make sure it doesn't come out to that row there. So let's say we do 2 blocks in between each one of these. That. The center, again, I think I'm going to have to go back to this. Do I want it to match with the cargo extension that goes across the floor? And yeah, it's the same idea with the balanced cargo too, where I try to get pretty close to the same number of total cargo extensions on this side versus this side, but this side also has ammo, which is separated only into this side, so I actually have less cargo extensions for the storage on this side versus that side to try to counteract that, essentially. Alright, I'm going to have a problem here though. I cannot texture that with my regular floor texturing. Guess we'll just have to fake it, put in something else there. And then the rest of these, though, can be switched over to that. And just color this up like that as well. And typically what I like to do then is these decals line right up over these particular lights here. So can do like a walk path here that's kind of labeled off, adds a little detail. Oops. Over the light, so it kind of blends the stuff in together so it doesn't stand out as much. And once in a while, rather than just doing a line, I'll put in like a couple dots or something like that there. Alright. Well, anyway, so we got those. No, we didn't. Color on this stuff. Now, this is the area behind these detectors and things. Yeah, let's go with something like that. I used to have some orange in here too, so I'm trying to get that back to for nostalgia's sake. Straightening out the floor. Trying to get some seams, but the right seams that kind of match at least. You know, on the outer floor, let's change the shade of this a little bit here. Fix up my missing texture here. Maybe. Okay, it should go. Man, this entire row is like there's hardly any I want to keep on this. I'll try that. Okay. Okay, so we have some flooring in place now. Moving on with parts. Let's at least place these while I'm here. Okay. Now, CPU tier blocks. Where the heck are they going to go? Maybe one on each side over in the corner. I think that could work. So right now I'll set it up as tier 3, but I'll remove these before it's done. And these have them face the right way. And let's see, we're gonna need, oh, I already got those. Also wanted to fit a constructor somewhere. Maybe a couple extra cargo boxes if CPU permits. So when we want an armor locker, so let's say we put these items. I got that right side up or upside down? Looks like upside down. What was it? No, it's upside down. Okay. There we go. Alright, so that covers that. What's my CPU looking like? Okay, yeah. Barely. Alright. Now, switches. That's another thing, too. Oh, generator placement, too. Where in the heck can we dump 2 more generators and not fry the player? I'm thinking. No, I can't do that one. There and God, this should be offset. I'm trying to keep them even if possible, but I can't seem to put a generator right there. Why the heck can't I? Oh, I see. I could put one there and there. Actually, that might work. Okay, so do a little bit more orange there. Okay, so that would be alternative spots for or the upgrade locations for the generators. pretty much stopped using that particular texture, but maybe in this case I could put it back as it originally had it. Okay, let's pull the warp core. Ah, darn it. Pull the warp core out. And get this finished texturing. Do a master fill all though first. Alright, ceiling. Obviously I'm trying to do this pretty quick too. Sometimes I'll screw around more, but the only thing that sucks, really, this particular transition is, I don't know, a little bit rougher than some of the other ships that I have updated to Alpha 11, but the amount of time I put into trying to make this ship work with the new stuff is about 3 times the time it took me to build the original ship, which kind of sucks. I know for I could have built a brand new ship probably quicker. So it does seem like it's kind of a waste of time doing all this stuff, but you know, if the ship was never popular or anything like that, I would have never bothered, put it that way. Alright, so what are, okay, so we've got generator locations, we've got tier block locations, we have a shield location. Is there anything else that goes inside the ship that would need to be, oh, a constructor, yes. The constructor. I got an idea for the constructor. Oh, I can't remove that block. Darn it. That would be awfully nice if the constructor was centered there. Can I make any body mods to this so I could do something there? Oh, certainly not easily. Or find a different place for it. Very convenient though, if it would be right there, because that block's cool. It's just, oh, what am I, God, I'm an idiot. I don't need to put the generator there, that's not even in the centered spot. There. Let me put this block back then. Oh, okay, yeah, totally cool. Constructor goes there. Alright, that works. Basically these here, I'll probably go with traditional LCD type stuff. Oh, there it is. Okay, so a couple LCDs. Switches. It's going to need a switch for lights. I don't think I'm going to need a switch for the thrusters, and maybe a on-off switch, but I don't think I'm going to have power modes on here, or should I? It's got enough thrusters, I could make the power modes actually work. Not sure if I'd want to fly it much. Well, you know, yeah, okay. We'll say, okay, it's going to have 2 switches for power, 1 switch for drone hats, and 1 switch for exterior lights, only if I can find room for it. And this wall over here looks like a nice little spot for some switches. So basically, let's say we had a switch. Oh, I can't use that block because I got that there. Well, that would be 2 switches, so that could handle on-off of thrusters and performance mode. What's left is the drone hatch. I could change this. Well, no, I can't put anything there either. I like to have the LCD near the switch, so I'm kind of looking for like a 2-block row. However, you know, right here, I think would work. So we'll say that I'll have a switch there in the middle, and that could be the drone hatch release, which is kind of near it. And our switch is over here for that. I think this is gonna work out. I thought I had a stripe in here. I must have got rid of it. Let's run it down the snow. Top row. Alright, that works. Let's grab a couple of these a minute. I could do something with these blocks here as well, I now realize. These blocks work is so I can separate them from that side to that side so they are placed right. It's kind of hard to tell with some textures like the steel texture on what actual way the textures line up on that. Alright, so things are looking alright. Still got some extra space over here. Just trying to get in all these components to see if I can fit in some extra things. Maybe another fuel tank or 2, a couple regular storage boxes at this CPU tier of tier 2 when it's done. Well, what are we at? Oh, I took out the warp core. Actually, speaking of color back here, I just need to finish this area off. It should have some orange too. I'll go. No, I'm looking at MCRN. Nah. Wrong race. Yeah, that looks alright. Let's put this back to quite, I guess, then. And yeah, there's that nook and cranny over here too, which is a nice little spot to add in some extra parts that you don't want visible. And we'll texture some areas you'll never see. Gotta do it. Still trying to get some orange here though, by the work core. Oh, that's the cockpit. I don't even know what color that's supposed to be right now. Alright, so want something up around here to make this prettier as well. Could try to go with some other new blocks. Maybe something like that. Those generators that go over there, so maybe I could like a little lip there or something so they fit back. How about instead of that we run some old school pipe? And by the way, if you didn't know already, pipe is old school. I'm just kidding. Alright. Alright. I think, sort of coloring and texturing the rest, that would be the interior pretty much, except let me get this back in. What I do, I put it too far. No, I removed a block I wasn't trying to remove. Whatever that may be. Let's try this again here. Okay. So that's fit. CPU. Nice. Alright, and a couple other things I would like to throw in here real quick is sensors and lights. Now probably that would be a great spot for a light there. Probably a great spot for a light there. I might even try a third light over on the crafting side. And then I'm just going to need one sensor inside the cabin area to control the lights that are here. One motion sensor, so that should work there. Okay. There's already a backdoor sensor on here already, so that's good. All right. the lights more of a human look. Let's see if I can mix up a couple colors in here. I'll have to tweak these all out later, but just to get the baseline ones in. Let's try orange here. Okay. That looks awfully pastelish right now. It'll darken up and look grittier though before it's done. All right, so that was most of the blocks and things that I wanted to get in here. Now, to see what can I do, can I get any more useful function in with the remaining CPU that's left, which isn't, oh shoot, I didn't get a fridge in here yet either. Better take care of that first. That's a good question. Where the heck am I going to put a fridge now? Probably make the most sense if it was near the other crafting stuff. Could do that. Could even add a second fridge, but I don't think you need it. Oh, you know, it's going to need a ventilator too. There it is. I already had them too. I do like the new shapes for ventilators. It gives you a lot of options. Some of them are really tiny and easy to fit too. Could do something like that though. Alright, so CPU is close. How much does a fuel tank cost? Let's place one and find out. Oh, too much. Damn it! I was hoping to get a couple more of these in it. Well, one thing I could do, I already have the other part stripped off, so it's only down to 2 Gatling guns already. I already removed those other side lights and some other little things. The only thing I really can do is to remove my more powerful thrusters I put back here. Again, probably didn't need them, but I had to try. Just the bottom row was done that way. I don't know if staggering these thrusters the way I did here is going to make any impact or not. Essentially, they were laid out across this way, and actually the original ship had a 5th thruster on each side over here. But again, with CPU constraints, I was trying to lessen that, and I needed to strengthen other thrusters more than what the back had. So that takes me down some here on CPU. Is that a valid trade-off? More fuel for less forward thrust power? Don't know. But I dare say it would let me get in at least 2 fuel tanks, which I'm starting to think is worth it. 4 O2 tanks, I think, is enough. They're really cheap on CPU, though. So, here, tell you what, let's put these fuel tanks out there. And I wanted to check see if I could get any storage boxes in here as well. Just kind of burying some areas, I guess. Yeah, we're good with that. Look at the fake wall here. Alright. So we got 3 of those and 2 more fuel tanks. So 6 fuel tanks. I guess what's kind of neat though, and if you're into ships and upgrading them, there's little nooks and crannies I'm kind of leaving around the ship. I don't want to waste blocks to fill them in necessarily. But should I? Gosh, I don't know. Used to be locations that were convenient for RCS and things like that, but we're in a post RCS era. Alright, the last thing that is missing from the original is I had some wings over here as well. Oh, and and I was thinking about altering the landing gear a little bit too. We'll see if I can work with that with the CPU though. That is a not extremely important. But rather than using block wings, I'm going to try to use something in this line of wings, maybe. I really want to find one that's kind of, I don't know, more aerodynamic, I guess. I used to have some block wings that kind of stuck out kind of like that. What I really want is an angle about like that for a wing. I just don't think anything really works with that. Yeah. I think it's either going to be this, or probably just this, I guess. Or I could just put the block wings back too. Okay, we're still good on CPU. Guess a little bit of coloring here. I gotta really work out my color scheme. I keep on changing it. Okay, so I want dark on that row. Light in the middle. And less light. Or a 1 off tone. How about a 2 off tone on the bottom? Okay, I think I can deal with that. Oh, the core is going to be a little different in here. Due to placing those blocks in that particular way, I could now do this and have that separation. Oops. And do that. I'll have to clean up and do some more texturing here too. backwards too. A second, just want to reverse these. Is that right or not? That's right, okay. Basically, I wanted to reverse that so I could texture the tips differently. Maybe not with that, but something like this. Get some lights in there. Something there. Or do I want to do something different? Maybe. I found that if I try to do something like this with symmetry on, especially when both sides are a little bit different and you got that big green line in the middle of your face the whole time, that it's not worth it. I'd rather just do each side separately. Yeah, I'll have to refine the textures. I can do that off screen at some point in time. That could take a little bit yet, getting that stuff going on. But it is getting there for sure. That's another thing I think I can do. So top row here, I could. Oh, darn it, I didn't get those blocks in right. Oops. It's really hard to tell which way's right. Nope. So this way's gotta be right. That was basically so I could get the lip colored differently. Okay, let's say you're dark. Since I got rid of the rest of that texture, I'm gonna get rid of the last couple. I'll be happy. I have a vendetta against that texture. Yeah. I kind of like it, but then I don't because of the big nasty white lines that it has on it. So I stopped using it quite a long time ago. All right, obviously this isn't colored yet. All right, so tier-wise, again, we're good yet. We're still good. I got that little bit left that I could probably do something with. we got 6 fuel tanks now. Not wonderful, but not horrible. But maybe I should just throw in another. Quite frankly, and this is all for the tier 2 version, of course. Where do they go? I know I've got them in my inventory. Yeah. I don't know if I want to put one up here. But yeah, that's kind of where they all are right now. You know, I'm gonna make this tougher. We're gonna put in some real blocks back here, I think. Same thing over there. Oh, heck with it. Is that safe enough for a fuel tank? Not necessarily. Again, this is a shield ship, so it doesn't really matter. Now, do I have any more nooks and crannies in this? I don't think anything usable. I am happy if you look at the front of the ship in the... Oh, I got some spots. I got the spot here. See, that would be a nice... Oh, man, it's right below the cockpit. Never mind. Oh, son of a gun. Where else could I dump fuel? Don't want to put any fuel tanks around the core. If they happen to blow up, they damage the nearby blocks and things. So that's usually a bad idea. Oh, I don't have the pentaxid tank back in here, too. Skin that a minute. Or color it, I should say. You're not going to see that texture here. Because it doesn't really matter. Okay, CPU's good. Maybe I'll stop there. The last part of this is just basically kind of messing around. I got to do some more texturing and some more coloring in some areas. I think the video is probably going on long enough. And then, of course, I got to do up the outside of the ship as well and get that kind of textured and skinned and fixed up and see if I can do any little tweaks. One last thing I wanted to explore the idea of, at least, is to shield off these thrusters up here and over here more, but also take the landing gear, get rid of these docking, these little ones, and put on some bigger ones. I think I could probably pull that off too, and then that would raise the ship up another block row off the ground. I'll have to change the back ramp to meet with that. That was actually done on the MX5T as well, the other ship, and that kind of sucks too, because that ship, I'm not gonna update that one. That one's just gonna stay the way it is. Um, yeah, but I think it is coming along, and yeah, it was already tested in the last video. I know it will fly. I know it will work. I know it can be CPU compliant with what it's got going on. Oh shoot, fridge. Sorry. So I think everything's in good shape, and I'll try to finish this up. Of course, I thought I could get a little bit more done in this time frame, and I was trying to be quick, but it takes longer than that, I guess. Um, yeah, 100 CPU to spare, absolutely amazing. And that is with the tier blocks. So these will also get eliminated on the tier 2 version, and it's going to be kind of awkward, but I'll have one of these tier 2 blocks sitting here that would get removed when you put in the tier 2 blocks. I'm sorry, the tier 3 blocks. Gonna look kind of strange, but hey, it does work. Nighttime lighting thing. What do we look like? And I'm just kind of using the colors that I was using typically with the human race. Some orange and a lot of this purple, sometimes gray, depending. And also, most of these kind of lights, I usually go with the particular orange that I always ran with these guys. Could do that there too. Maybe I'm making it too dark though, so maybe the ceiling that I'm just making dark is a bit much. I don't know. We'll find out at the end. I'll probably spend another hour and a half with the ship yet, just tweaking and detailing every little nook and cranny, plus getting the LCDs in place and the switches and levers and all that fun stuff. But I think it's well on its way. It will be hopefully updated on the workshop. Well, maybe this weekend. I kind of wanted to actually do it today, but I got to take care of some other things, and with the storm coming in, I don't know if I'm gonna have power. So we'll see how things go. But anyway, y'all have a good day. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope it wasn't too boring. It's just, with these builds, it takes a long time to do, typically, especially if you're trying to really get a lot of detail in there. And, it runs on. All right. Anyway, y'all have a good day. See you later.